And then, of course, I have, my folks who are super special to me. And, my immediate family has been very small. I have a brother and they, have the one small baby niece who is my love as well, who, she and Ray are like the tightest little couple of cousins or whatever they are, because we can't figure it out. It's just so weird. Everybody's a weird connection in some way, but they just love each other, and it's not about quantity, it's about quality. So and my husband's side of
That
the
is
family is
right.
tremendous. So we have all kinds of fun, and it's the fuel that keeps me going. So yeah, so I love them. They're
Awesome.
definitely what keeps me all motivated, for sure.
That's a
So
good
outside of
thing.
the
Awesome.
family component, right? Originally from New York, been here in Florida for coming up on 18 years, which is hard for me to believe when I say that out loud, but it's true. People say, "Oh, that turns you into a Floridian already," and unfortunately, that is, in my opinion, not exactly a true statement. I feel like that just means my vacation lasted a little longer this time. I really feel like I will always be a New Yorker. That's just who I am. It's my natural born makeup. I worked in Manhattan for 15 plus years. I'm a pound the pavement kind of gal. I'm born in the concrete jungle. It's just literally who I am as an individual. They always say, you can take the girl out of the Bronx, you can't take the Bronx out of the girl, and that is me. But I have been here a long time. I've acclimated. My family is all here, aside of my parents, and they'll never leave, so neither will I. So it looks like, but I can visit, and that'll be good enough for me. And I just recently stepped out of the corporate world, where I spent literally my whole career. Big move on my part, big change. Happy that I did it, excited about it, a little bit of sadness just simply because of the people side of it. I know that
Right.
you can always keep your friends, right? If they're truly your friends, they'll always be around. So that's not something I lose.
Absolutely.
But there's an element of the corporate world that is also ingrained in me, and that I've been since a little girl, watching my dad go into being a VP of a big financial corporation in Manhattan, and visiting him there, and being in that element of that hustle and bustle, and riding the subways and seeing the big city. And it's just something that always excited me. So leaving that chapter of my life behind was a big decision, but I think it's all for good. I think it's a good idea. Yeah. Big things ahead.
Yeah, I think
Hopefully.
you have great things ahead of you. I really do.
Hopefully that's the plan. That's the plan.
Well, tell me how you got into sub 2, because that's a very interesting story, the one you told me
It's
before about you and your son. I love that
yeah,
story.
it's quite a story. Yeah, I being that I have always been in the corporate world, I've always obviously worked a full-time job, and 2020 was a crazy year for everybody and for lots of reasons, but I have quite a few extra add-ons to crazy. My grandson was about 3 weeks old, and this was May. And our house, which is a two-story, about just under 5,000 square feet, and again in Florida, where there are no lightning poles, but yet we get a lot of lightning. So not sure I understand the logic, but we were hit with a lightning surge in a storm. And it was about 10 o'clock at night, and TVs went out, and at the time we didn't think anything of it. We figured, oh, you know what, we'll figure it out in the morning. And I get a call from my son, hysterical, who lives downstairs, saying, "Mom, there's a flood." Turns out that the septic tank was hit by the surge, and therefore the entire downstairs was flooded. So, of course, that's contaminated water. Everything had to be ripped up. And we had just remodeled their kitchen, and it was a big, huge mess. So we're talking 4 feet up of drywall, floors ripped up, literally everything that was down there thrown away. So completely having to redo that entire downstairs. Kids were moved to temp housing, and I mean, months and months of dealing with contractors and estimate, people coming with estimates, and it was just inspectors. It was horrible. So rather than dealing with the stress of that, God rest his soul, my father-in-law was very handy, and he basically was, you know, constructing homes and reconstructing and building and rebuilding houses from, early on days when we lived in New York. And he taught my husband, and my husband taught us, and, myself, my son. So we decided, rather than dealing with the stress of the contractors, we would do it ourselves. So we basically rebuilt the entire downstairs apartment by ourselves. And it was amazing. I mean, it looked beautiful. Definitely took a lot longer than if we'd had other people come in and do it, because, we had lives and we worked, and, but it was really a true testament to the talent and skill that we all had. So, my son and my husband were both like, what, why are we not fixing and flipping houses? And I'm like, I don't know. It's a really good idea. And they said, you make a lot of money doing this. And I thought, well, you know what? That's something to think about. So I was home recovering from a surgery the end of that year. And, this class pops up on the internet while I'm recovering, and it's about real estate investing. And part of that was about learning how to fix and flip homes, and wholesaling, and subject to, and all these different methods, and learning about short-term rentals and such. So I thought, what, let me look into this. And so I learn about it, and my head just blows. I'm like, wow, this is incredible. I can totally do this part-time. This was my mentality at the time. I can totally do this. This would be amazing. And I just start to absorb all this information. I start forming little teams here and there. I start learning from other people, which is my way to learn. And I meet this woman who end up befriending, and she's going into foreclosure. Her husband, unfortunately, fell off of a ladder in a lanai, and broke, like, I don't know how many hundreds of bones in his body. Sad story. I'm not laughing, but it was just so horrible. And she tells me this story, and she has two young kids, teenage kids, and they're losing basically everything. So I wanted nothing more but to help this woman. And when I tried to analyze her home and her deal and try to help her out of this foreclosure situation, I realized that a wholesale deal is not what it's going to help her, but subject to, I only learned the tip of the iceberg, but I knew that was a strategy that I thought would help her. So I didn't know enough about it. I started Googling, and of course, when you look up sub two, what happens? PACE is everywhere. So I start learning more about just the theory itself and the method, but then of course more and more about PACE and sub two. And I ultimately help her, but to continue the story of joining sub two, I joined an elephant challenge, and I start meeting a ton of leaders and people who are already students. And I'm just, again, blown away by the amount of information and knowledge and things that PACE shares, and the other folks who are already part of the program. And I'm thinking, this is the place to be. Like, I need to get more involved in this if I'm really going to take this seriously. And so I decide, even before joining, I set up an LLC. Actually, a couple of them. I open up a bank account. I open up business credit, and I'm like, this is it. This makes me serious. I'm doing this. And then in October of 2022, I decided to join. And it was the best decision I ever made. Honestly, I wasn't quite executing completed deals, but I was definitely executing. I mean, I had gotten a bunch of different things under contract. For one reason or another, I would, analyze them and realize, okay, this isn't a deal. And I would cancel them. But I was taking action, and it was forcing me to do those things. And it felt great. And the more people I met, the more I learned. And I continued to share what I learned with people who were just starting out. And, I love to share knowledge too, because I think, it's not what, I don't think holding on to knowledge is helpful. I think the more you share it, the more it comes back to you in other ways. So I'm giving in that way. And I think that's one of the things I appreciate the most about PACE, right? Because, I know we all realize it's full circle and everything comes back, but just the idea that he's willing to do those things, I can relate to that so much. I'm the same way. So it wasn't until this year that some of that execution really came to fruition, and I was able to secure a rental, wholesale, and a really successful flip, as you know, Miss Louise, as my partner. So um,
Mm-hmm.
I, I
Yes,
think
ma'am.
I think it's all just a real testament to say that, if you put your mind to something and you enjoy what you're doing and you enjoy doing it with the people that are around you, that you can be successful no matter what that is. So that's you know Sub 2 really helped me figure that out, and the people that I've been working with have been very supportive, including my family, of course. But all the ones of us in Sub 2 and the like-mindedness of us all are really just helping us push to that next level, and we're all going to succeed together, really.
Oh, I agree totally. Sub 2 is definitely the place to be. And I
For
love
sure.
that story. Is your
Yeah.
now with different flips and things like that, or is he still on the sidelines? He is helping?
He's
Awesome.
waiting. He's waiting. He's like, "Mom, you get us that first really good flip, and I'm out
He's
of here." Like,
like,
he's dying to quit. He's dying to quit. He is the Darden legacy left behind, so
he's
he still
ready.
plays the role, but he's ready. He's ready. Yeah, he really wants to get more engaged and involved. So, but I,
Good,
of course,
good.
want him to be wise about it, right? He needs to have enough in the bank, and make sure that he's got two
Absolutely.
little ones. So, insurance and things like that are important. But he'll get there too. He'll get there too,
Absolutely.
for
Oh,
sure.
I fully have faith in that. I do.
Yes,
I can see you in the house now, and I'll be off on the side helping some way or another.
absolutely. Yeah, you play a major role for sure.
Wholesale that we did in Stanford.
Yes.
We did that little wholesale in Stanford. I know everything that could have went wrong on that, but what a great learning experience that was. I learned
Yeah.
so much from that. Oh my word.
Absolutely, absolutely. And actually, I would more classify that as a flip, because really, if you think about it, and it, I mean, we can get into the details of it if you like, but if you think about it, we had different plans when we started, right? I mean, that the goal of that was really to
Yes.
purchase that and turn it into an Airbnb, and we had high hopes for that property, and I think we would have really been highly successful with that approach as well.
Yes,
The
that was our
unfortunate
first
circumstances,
venture.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was unfortunate circumstances with, I think it would have been okay me healing from surgery, but I think the circumstances with my dad is unfortunately what did not enable for that to move on to the next steps, right? And I feel badly about it, but I think we made the
Right.
right
And that big
decision.
turn with Airbnb too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and we I
Absolutely.
mean, and we could have gone pad split route. We could have gone a couple of different ways if we wanted to, I suppose. But like I said, if I'm the kind of person, if I'm
Right.
not 150% fully engaged in what's going on, I'm not going to leave it to the responsibilities of my partners. It's just not how I operate. So, to me, I just wanted to make sure that we stayed in the
Right.
green and we weren't in the red, and I'm glad we definitely decided to continue to pursue it, because it kept us in a good place, and we still made some money, so that was good,
It
and it was a
did.
good experience. It was a learning.
And it was,
I think we all learned something.
yeah, it was great in the end.
Yes, definitely. Yeah,
Oh
for
God,
sure.
yes,
Good
yes.
story to tell
I think
too.
it was a great experience. Are you kidding? One of the better experiences I've had with Sub 2 so far. So yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. I learned so much on
absolutely.
that one deal. It took us forever, but still the learning
It did,
experience from it will never fade.
for sure. Absolutely. I
I
agree.
want to thank you for coming on and talking with me.
It was my
Hopefully we can
pleasure.
do more deals in the future here very soon.
Oh, without a doubt. That's the
And I
plan.
just want to tell everybody thanks for watching. No doubt.
Yeah.
All right. Say goodbye to everybody TV land, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Take care. Thank you.